Oh, hello. Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, I have many stuffs and things to talk about. For those of you who have been following along, you will know that my fiance and I, Diamond, went to Eastern Washington last weekend. That's why we had a slightly shorter Sunday Stuff and Things last week. And we went to visit the Dry Falls. Ostensibly, that was the main point of our vacation, to go visit the Dry Falls, an amazing geological formation. But we were kind of around that whole area, the Grand Coulee area of Eastern Washington. And my God, do I have to tell you about this place. I want to show you pictures. I want to tell you about the trip because it was ridiculously cool. I've lived in Washington for most of my life, most of my childhood, most of my adult life. I've been to Eastern Washington before, but I had no idea that landscapes as dramatic as this existed in Eastern Washington. It's just crazy. So we're gonna get into that. That's gonna be the main thrust of this week's Sunday Stuff and Things. But we have other things to talk about too. And that's why I'm sitting at my computer, by the way, because I'm gonna be recording my desktop so I can show you some pictures that I've taken. We also will be talking about upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. We will get into Shirtgate, the biggest controversy that has ever occurred on this channel. We will talk about my gerbils a little bit, little update, people keep asking about them. And then of course your questions in hashtag #AskStuffandThings. And then the video, or not the videos, but the pictures from the trip will be interspersed in there as well. So let's get into this, lots to talk about. All right, so upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. It is just about time. I can see that as I'm recording this, it is October 30th. So that means that the 1st of November is coming up very soon. And on Wednesday, what is Wednesday? Wednesday the 6th, so a little bit late, but that's just kind of how it's gonna fall this month. We are going to do our next check-in for the 9-month guitar challenge. I have been diligently playing and practicing guitar every single day. Started this challenge in in May. So this will have been 6 months that I've been playing guitar, practicing guitar every single day. The new check-in is going to be this Wednesday. And still been working on Black Dog by Led Zeppelin, and I'm gonna start trying to learn the solo. And if you have heard that song, and you have heard the solo, and if you've heard me play guitar, you will know that this is not going to be the easiest thing in the world for me to do. But that will be coming up this Wednesday. And then of course, the Demon Souls series. I love this game. I love FromSoft games. The Demon Souls series is continuing on Stuff and Things Plays every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It is made possible by an amazing Patreon supporter, Jason Buckner, who sent me a flipping PlayStation 5 so I could play this game. It meant that much to him. He loved the Dark Souls 3 series that much that he wanted me to play Demon Souls really badly. And it's a FromSoft game. It's a hard game. It's a fantastic game. It's a gorgeous game. It looks absolutely beautiful. I think this series so far is one of the best I've ever done. And it's getting fewer views than almost any series that I've ever done on the channel. So please check it out because I think it's really great. And a lot of people, I think, were watching the Valheim series from outside of the channels, I think. It was bringing in more outsiders. Outsiders, that sounds weird, but more new people to the videos. And just based on some of the comments I was getting to, I could tell that they weren't the normal Stuff and Things viewers. And I think a lot of those people have dropped off because Demon Souls may not be in the zeitgeist right now. It may not be the game that people are talking about a lot. But I think this is the best, funniest, most entertaining series I've done in a long time. So please check out Demon Souls on Stuff and Things Plays if you have any interest whatsoever. And that's it for upcoming videos. We're gonna have more tea-related stuff coming up soon, the pipe hobby stuff. We did have, did you watch the review of the Modern Fuel bolt action pen and pencil? I love this pen. I've been using this pretty much nonstop since I got it. It is really expensive, I understand that. It is not a fountain pen, I also understand that. Some people were a little annoyed that I was talking about this pen on the channel, even though I'm not a fountain pen channel. I've talked about fountain pens in the past. But people are like, that's not a fountain pen. No, it is not. And I didn't even realize that the bolt action pen was kind of a thing, but there are other brands out there, others that are quite a bit cheaper. But I haven't seen anything that I like the look of and the design of as much as this. I don't think I would pay $150, or I guess actually this version, this bolt action pen is $175 in the bronze. I wouldn't pay that much for this pen, I don't think, but I really like it. It's really cool, and if you're just interested in it whatsoever, check out the review that we posted last week, and then we did the LWA pipe bag review. So if you ever take your pipe on the go and you need something to store it in, I've been using this every single day since I did that review, and I think it's fantastic. So check that out as well. Upcoming videos, past videos, things that you can be watching on the channels. I mentioned a controversy, something that has been the subject of much debate on Stuff and Things, on Twitter, on the comments, on YouTube. We will call it Shirtgate. Last week I wore, or not last week, well I guess I wore it 2 weeks ago, but I recorded 2 weeks worth of videos because I knew we were gonna be gone. And it is a flowery shirt that I wore. I've worn it before. I think I wore it one other time and no one really mentioned it the first time I wore it. I think maybe a couple people said they liked it. But this time, just an avalanche of criticism has fallen down on me. Let me see if I can find the shirt here. Hold on. Cords everywhere. Ah, yes. Uh-oh. Running over my cords. This is the shirt in question. It's a nice flowery shirt, a little bit of a tropical design to it. I wouldn't call it a Hawaiian shirt. Some people were calling this a Hawaiian shirt. It's not a Hawaiian shirt because it's a sweater or a sweatshirt basically. This is the shirt in question. I wore it, and I wore it when I was recording 2 weeks worth of videos, so people were seeing it a lot, I guess, on the channel. And here's some of the response that we got. This is actually via Twitter from GG. Please tell us about your Hawaiian shirt. Does Diamond like it? Please explain. And then there is a crying, laughing emoji. Hashtag Hawaiian shirt. Okay, this is a comment from YouTube. Between the grunting like things are hard to accomplish that you do way too often, and the flower grandma shirt, I can't do it. Okay, Bradley, what's up with the bizarre flower pattern shirt? I must say it's the strangest looking shirt I've ever seen a heterosexual man wear. Turn down that shirt. I can't hear the video. That shirt? That was just it, just that shirt. And then one comment that did say, where did you get the neat shirt? Not a huge fan of maybe people making sexual orientation, like snidely mentioning sexual orientation as though that matters. If I were gay, if I were not gay, who cares? What does that matter? But the shirt seems to have engendered a lot of debate, a lot of anger, a lot of emotion around that shirt. I like it. I think it's a cool shirt. Diamond did not buy it for me. No, I bought it myself. I got it from J. Crew. I get much of my just basic wear from J. Crew because they make good t-shirts, fairly reasonably priced, have nice sales a lot. And yeah, I just saw this shirt. Oh, I guess that was the grunting. I'm not supposed to grunt. It was on sale. It was nice and summery. I bought it in the summer, and yeah. You might be seeing this shirt more often on the channel because I do wear it on a fairly regular basis. And if I happen to be wearing it when I'm recording a Sunday Stuff and Things video, then you may see it on me. I think it's pretty cool. All right, a quick update on the gerbils, Conan and Subotai, my two gerbils that I got a few weeks ago. People were asking if I've gotten to the point where I can actually interact with them a little bit. And I have diligently been every single evening sitting near their cage and, you know, calling them up. They're hiding away in their little tunnels. And I get some millet, a sprig of millet, or a spray of millet, I guess you would say. I hold it in there for the guys and I call them, Conan, Subotai, come up and have your millet. Make that noise. And they will occasionally come out, or they will eventually come out. They always come out. They look up, they look at me, they look at the millet. And Conan is the bigger glutton. He's the one that wants the food more, and he's the bigger one. he will start eating the millet out of my fingers. I'll show you a little clip right now.
Good boy. You like that millet? Listen to the sound of my voice. I am not going to hurt you. Now look, I'm going to move my hand a little bit. Oh. Yep, see? It's fine. There you go. Where's your brother at? Oh, here he comes. There you go. Okay, that is Conan. It's all right. Man, Conan is way bigger than Subutai. Good boys. There you go. Look at you guys. You don't even mind. Hey, don't fight.
So it's working. They're slowly getting slightly less skittish. It's still this kind of thing where there's a disconnect between, they don't necessarily know that my hand is connected to my body. They look at my hand and they say, oh, that's the thing that puts food in here sometimes. So they'll come up to my hand, but then if they see me moving around, they might frighten and skitter away. And if they see shapes sort of moving towards the cage, but if I'm just sitting near the cage, I can sit there talking to them. I can have my hand in there. They'll come, they'll touch my hand, they'll grab food out of my hand. But then if I make a loud noise or an expansive gesture, they might dart to cover. But slowly but surely, it's getting a little better. So maybe I'll have an update video on those guys soon. All right, but now I don't want to waste too much more time because I want to get to this trip I took. Can I just say, I know I'm a little bit biased because I live in Washington State, but is there anywhere else in the contiguous, well, even in all of the United States, I would say, or maybe even all of the Western Hemisphere, where you have so many different, completely, radically different climates and or landscapes in one state? Washington has, almost Norway-like or Scandinavian-like fjords. All these crazy islands and waterways, just hundreds and hundreds of jewel-like islands, jewel because they're covered in fir trees, and waterways, just a beautiful area, the Puget Sound, that's amazing. We have the Olympic Peninsula, which is a temperate rainforest, just towering cedar trees, huge ferns. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful. We have areas of high alpine meadows. We have the North Cascades that are just insanely snowbound and jagged and rugged and wild and amazing. We have the sort of southern area of the Cascades, which is a little more gentle, not quite as wild. We have beautiful areas of forest and waterfalls and again, waterways and lakes. Then you go into Eastern Washington. You have the higher, kind of near to the Canadian border where it's more desert-like, obviously, than Western Washington, but it's just, there are pine trees mixed with sagebrush and just a completely different landscape. And then you go into, I guess, central Eastern Washington, which is where we were. Of course, there are farm fields and apple orchards and all that stuff. But we were in the area of Grand Coulee. And it is, for those of you who don't know, a coulee is basically a giant waterway that has been cut into a landscape that no longer has water in it. There might still be some water in it because obviously there's Grand Coulee and the Grand Coulee Dam and there's Banks Lake and areas like that. And the Columbia River flows through all of this. But it is one of the most dramatic landscapes I've ever seen. And I just can't believe that this one state has so many crazy disparate elements. So Let me show you some of the pictures that I took on the trip. Let's see here. If we go to the first day, okay, so I took a bunch of raw pictures. I also took JPEGs. The JPEGs aren't going to be edited, so just bear that in mind. There's a lot of editing I could do, and I would be editing the raw files basically. But we started going on Highway 90, which goes east. So you go down near Seattle, you take the 5 to the 405, you get on the 90, and then we went to North Bend because that is where the diner is that they used for the exterior shots of the diner in Twin Peaks. So you can see that here. Again, these are unedited JPEGs, so bear that in mind. And we have got Mount Si here in the distance. So this is North Bend, Washington. And that is the R Diner from Twin Peaks, or at least the exterior of the R Diner. So pretty cool. Another shot there. And they had a little mural on the back of the building with the Welcome to Twin Peaks sign. We tried to find that place where they actually took that picture for the Welcome to Twin Peaks sign. And we think it's right around here. That's as far as we could tell. I think maybe it was around in this gravel area. I think you can see my cursor. Yes. You can see the mountain in the background. It was a little misty, kind of hard to tell, but this is pretty much, I believe, where the Welcome to Twin Peaks sign was. So that was cool. And then as we were driving around Snoqualmie and North Bend, we actually saw a field where there were some people who had pulled off the side of the road, and we looked out there and it was just filled with elk, like a huge herd of elk. Oh, but before we get to that, here are Snoqualmie Falls. And that is what they called the Great Northern Hotel in Twin Peaks, but it's actually called, I can't remember what it's actually called. It's not called the Great Northern. I think it's maybe called the Snoqualmie Falls Inn or something. I'm not sure, but this was the famous kind of opening shot of Twin Peaks with the Great Northern in the background, Snoqualmie Falls falling down. Very cool. Aha, and here we get to this field where there was just a huge herd of elk, tons of elk. Again, none of these are edited, but you can see some bucks here hanging out. I was using my 600mm lens to take these photos and capture them. So it was a pretty overcast day, and that lens is not the brightest lens in the world, but it still did pretty well. Not everything's totally in focus, but if you zoom in here, not bad at all. We were pretty far away. I love this picture. I think this is my favorite one of the elks because it's like a buck here, and then the doe, it's like, mah, mah, mah. I don't know what she's saying to him, but he seems a little irritated. I don't know. I like that. So again, I need to edit these, crop them, and do whatever I'm gonna do to them, but I think there's some pretty good pictures in here. Now here, this is like right after we've gotten over the mountains on Highway 90, and I just wanted to show this because first of all, there's some really cool dramatic stuff going on with rain clouds, but just look over this landscape, and it's all sagebrush, and you see some of this kind of in Winthrop, the area closer to the Canadian border, but this is just so evocative of desert or like a Western movie or something, and I doubt that most people think of Washington State when they think of a landscape like this. I mean, look at that. That looks pretty damn cool. That's just a frickin' desert, man. Couple shots there. I was going to try to get some stuff. We have some stuff with the cars going by. We have these wind turbines here, which kind of blight the landscape, but I thought it was kind of a neat picture with the really dark clouds, and the sagebrush in the foreground. I like that one. That one looks pretty cool. A lot of dynamic range going on there. So that was pretty much the first day. There are some other pictures of us as we got to our hotel. We were staying in Soap Lake, Washington. And then the next day, we were gonna go to, we had heard from someone, a barista at a coffee place, that there was a rock called Steamboat Rock, which is a big butte that was left there in Grand Coulee. And then, so Grand Coulee is just this giant gorge that goes through this whole area. And then we also wanted to go to Dry Falls Park to check the Dry Falls out. And Dry Falls, I'm going to show you some of these pictures, but the Dry Falls are one of the most amazing geological formations, and they are evidence of something crazy that happened thousands of years ago during the last glacial maximum of this current ice age. We are in an ice age right now, by the way. Where basically up in Montana, there was a lake called Lake Missoula that would fill and then get dammed up by ice. As the ice would retreat and then come forward, it would dam up Lake Missoula. The Columbia River also got dammed at one point, and then it was carving new channels. Lake Missoula, occasionally the ice dam would melt, and then millions of gallons of water would flood out, and it would go through this area, this Grand Coulee area, and go over these dry falls. At one point, and it would happen periodically throughout, like a several thousand year period. And this is what caused this crazy landscape in eastern Washington, the Scablands and the dry falls. It's this basalt volcanic rock that got carved out. The dry falls at one point they're 3 miles wide, over 500 feet high, I think. And at one point there was the volume of water pouring through the dry falls was 10 times the volume of every river in the world combined right now. It was the largest waterfall to exist on Earth. So pretty crazy. And let me just show you, as we were driving through Grand Coulee to some of this, trying to get to these areas, you just have these huge bluffs and all this scree coming down along the side. And there are some little waterways and things. Like, look at some of this. This is just so cool. Again, unedited pictures. I can make them look better later. You can see the sunlight hitting the side of that gorge. Here is Steamboat Rock, along with all the sagebrush and everything. Just one of these big buttes. It was too big to fit in frame. I had a 24 millimeter was my widest lens, but I couldn't get the whole thing in frame. You can see kind of the scale there. It's still quite a ways away. Just a nice view of this huge gorge. This is Grand Coulee. We're inside Grand Coulee right now. Does that look like Washington State to you? It sure doesn't to me. Just amazing. This is so cool. Another view of Steamboat Rock. Why don't they film Westerns here? Doesn't this seem like a place that you would film a Western movie? Just so striking, this landscape. Nice shot of Diamond there by the rock. I think we've got a couple of me. There we go. Skinny legs. Very nice. I love some of the fall colors you can see here because there weren't really any trees anywhere other than around some of the waterways. So you would just get this cool shock of orange and red wherever there were trees in the ravines. Very cool. And look at that. This is Washington State. Oh, here's Grand Coulee Dam. We saw the dam. It's a big dam. Pretty cool. And then there's a wider shot of Steamboat Rock. And now here is one of the first pictures I took of the dry fall. So this whole area here was a giant waterfall, over 3 miles wide, over 500 feet tall. And I think I have some, and just look at some of the crazy colors and everything coming through here. And it's hard to convey the scale, but if I go here, this little dot right here is a human in a kayak. Let me zoom in on that. That's a guy in a kayak. That's a guy in a kayak. So this was the plunge pool at the bottom of part of the waterfall. The waterfall went all the way through here as well. But imagine that. That's a human being, or that's a kayak. Think of the volume of water that was pouring through this. And apparently even where we were standing, water was coming through and flooding and just carving these crazy formations in the basalt rock. I mean, this is crazy. Look at this. I have some that are kind of underexposed because I was going to do some editing on these later, but that one's exposed, good for this, but not for the sky. Anyway, photography stuff. Now look at here, you can see a vehicle, so that can give you a sense of scale. compared to this giant butte and all these crazy bluffs that were once a waterfall. It's just a wild landscape, and I never expected to see that in Eastern Washington. It's so cool. And then we just went on a hike a bit later. Here's just some more of the dry falls. This is from like a little observation area. Let's see here. Dry falls, dry falls, dry falls. There's Diamond overlooking the falls. Pretty cool. And then we went to a hike, or we went on a hike in the Dry Falls Park. There's just some trees. To a place called Umatilla Rock or Umatilla Rock. So this is us starting to go on the hike. Again, it's just this landscape, a desert landscape of sagebrush and not a lot of moisture. That's Umatilla Rock. Just a really cool, it's I would expect to see this in like in the Badlands or someplace, you know? Like not in Washington State. Oh, this guy. Diamond did not enjoy this guy. We found this crazy looking insect, and it was something I had seen before in Eastern Washington, but I had never known exactly what they were called. I thought it was some sort of like burrowing cricket or something, and it is, I looked it up later, it is called a Jerusalem cricket, and this guy is big. He's probably like that big. And they're not true crickets, but they do normally burrow underground. They've got these weird red heads, and I guess they don't have stingers or venom or anything, but they can bite pretty hard if you grab them. But they come up when it's been moist on the surface, and it had been raining there that day. So just a crazy looking bug there. A Jerusalem cricket. We don't have them here. Pretty sure about that. There's Umatilla Rock again. Just a really cool landscape. And the trip was just fantastic. I would love to go back there and camp and maybe spend a week there, because there's just so much to do, so many different lakes, so many different trails, so many different hikes that you could do. It's just so cool. I absolutely loved it. We both had a great time. And that was pretty much our trip. I could not recommend enough for you to check out Eastern Washington and the area. Well, actually, no, don't go there. Or don't tell anyone else, because it was really cool, and I'm sure that plenty of people go in the summer, but when we were there, it was pretty much deserted, and that was fantastic. So, an amazing trip. All right, gang, I had your questions here, but I think we're already almost out of time. It's been like almost 28 minutes, and I think I'm gonna hold these questions and I'm gonna move them to next week. I know your boy, Teddy, I have your question here. I'm gonna answer it soon. I promise you, I will answer your question. Anyone else, if you have more questions for me, send them in. Tweet at SAT Bradley with the hashtag askstuffandthings. Leave comments, questions in the comment sections on YouTube. I try to go through that as well. But I have lots of good questions here, and I'm gonna hold these over till next week. But before we go, it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. The Patreon supporters make this show go. They help pay for the fancy camera that is filming this video right now. They help pay for materials, things that I review on the channel, and just in general make things a lot easier, because it takes a lot of time to do these videos every single week, and it's much appreciated that these people are supporting us on Patreon. So every week we like to shout out the people who support the channels at $25 or more a month. People like Kirk Crompton, Private Eye, Glenn, just Glenn, Jason Buckner, our good friend, Gloria Phillips, Ryan McFadin, Matt Marino, Joe Heaphy, and MDoftheNorth. Thank you all so much for your support. But of course, we can't forget the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month. People like Peter Straub, Bob Magee, David Gaudreau, and Ashes of the Phoenix. You are all much appreciated, and you are all much appreciated for watching, for sharing. We ran out of recording time there, but we're back. As I was saying, if you like these videos, if you comment on these videos, that helps them get seen. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. So I really appreciate all of you leaving comments, hitting that like button, and just spreading the word about Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. But thank you so much, gang. Please stay tuned for the 9-month guitar challenge update video this Wednesday. We'll have more videos about our pipe hobby coming up soon, and of course, Kevin the Kurt's adventures in Demon Souls series on Stuff and Things Plays. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley, you've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a very pleasant Sunday, Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.